Case of emergency, this is the plenary hall exit plan. For guests situated at the rostrum, the nearest exits are at the north and south rostrum. For occupants at the first floor and front rows of the VIP gallery, the north, south, and main entrance exits are available. For occupants at the VIP gallery, the main entrance and north and south VIP exits are available. For occupants at the second floor gallery, there are exits available at both sides. For occupants at the third floor gallery, there are available exits at the east and west sides. In case of emergency, this is the plenary hall exit plan. For guests situated at the rostrum, the nearest exits are at the north and south rostrum. For occupants at the first floor and front rows of the VIP gallery, the north, south, and main entrance exits are available. For occupants at the VIP gallery, the main entrance and north and south VIP exits are available. For occupants at the second floor gallery, there are exits available at both sides. For occupants at the third floor gallery, there are available exits at the east and west sides.
Yes, of course. Ano, inunahan na kita. Yes. Hindi. Prayer lang. Pagdadasal natin buong Pilipinas.
Session is called to order. Please stand for the singing of the national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupit, di ka pasisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bakaw, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidikdik, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng warangit pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga ating at mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Like the Honorable Richard Gomez is hereby recognized.
Almighty Father and gracious Lord, as we convene in this humble space of governance, we acknowledge your presence and seek your guidance. Help us to navigate the complexities of leadership with utmost integrity. May our words be tempered with kindness, our actions rooted in truth and justice, and our decisions guided by compassion. Grant us wisdom, humility, and strength and courage. May we always tread the path of righteousness and harmony. For all of us who are privileged to represent the Filipino people in both Congress and the Senate, we pray that you rouse our awareness that we all serve but one nation, and that is the Republic of the Philippines. Help us all to work together without prejudices, so that together we can give our country the progress it deserves. For this we ask in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you, now and forever. Amen.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we call the roll of members.
The Secretary General is directed to call the roll of members.
Roll call of members. Honorable Representatives. Abalos. Abante. Abunda. Acharon. Asidre. Ako. Adyong. Advincula. Agaraw. Alba. Albano. Almario. Almonte. Alonte. Alvarez Jose. Alvarez Mercedes. Alvarez Pantaleon. Amante. Amatong. Angara. Aquino. Aquino Magsaysay. Arbison. Arenas. Arrogancia. Asistio. Ataide. Omentado. Balindong. Barba. Barbers. Baronda. Barzaga. Baskog. Bautista. Bautista Lin. Benitez. Bernos. Biliones. Biron. Bolilla, Bondok, Bongalon, Bordado, Bosita, Briones, Brosas, Buhain, Bulot Begtang, Bustos, Cabredo, Cagas, Kahayon Uy, Calderon, Calixto, Campos, Kawagdan, Cardema, Cari, Castro Franz, Castro Jane, Celeste, Chan, Chato, Chua, Yunggalaw, Ko Angelica Natasha, Ko Elizalde, Ko Pilar, Ko Juanco Jaime Eduardo Mark, Ko Juanco Mark, Colada, Colliantes, Corvera, Cruz Ambrosio, Cruz Ricardo, Cuwa, Quaresma, Dagoo, Dalipe, Dalog, Dayanghirang, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, Defensor, Del Mar, De Los Santos, Dimaporo Muhammad Khalid, Dimaporo City Amina, Dionisio, Domingo, Duavit, Duhali, Duterte, D. Faustino Ino, D. Faustino Michael Carlos, D. Ian Paul, Ecleo, Emano, Enverga, Escudero, Espares, Espina, Estrella, Udela, Farinas, Fernandez, Ferrer Antonio, Ferrer Juliet Marie, Flores, Fortes, Frasco, Fresnedi, Fuentebella, Galeos, Garcia Albert, Garcia Dante, Garcia Jose Arturo, Garcia Maria Angela, Garcia Pablo Jan, Garcia Vincent, Guardiola, Garin, Gasataya, Gato, Goed Christopher, Gomar, Goles, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Aurelio, Gonzales Neptali, Gonzales Sandro, Goriseta, Guico, Gintu, Gulias, Gutierrez, Haresco, Hataman, Hernandez, Herrera, Horibata, Javier, Ko Olga Ara, Ko Ricardo, Ko Wilton, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lakson, Lakson Noel, Lagman, Lagon Daphne, Lagon San, Lara, Lazatin, Lee, Ligarda, Libanan, Limkaychong, Loyola, Luistro, Lumayag, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Magsino, Malapitan, Mangawang, Maniquis, Manuel, Marañon, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariano Hernandez, Marinho, Marquez, Martinez, Mastura, Matibag, Matugas, Mendoza, Mercado, Mercado Revilla, Miguel, Momo, Morden, Nava, Nisay, Nograles Juan Fidel Felipe, Nograles Margarita, Nolasco, Uwaminal, Olaso, Olivares, Ongchuan, Ordanes, Ortega, Uano Dizon, Padiernos, Paduano, Paglas, Palma, Panaligan, Pancho, Panotes, Pascual, Peña, Pimentel, Plaza, Pleito, Primicia Sagabas, Pumaren, Puno, Kimbo, Rama, Regencia, Remulla, Revilla Brian, Revilla Ramon Jolo, Reyes, Rilio, Rivera, Robes, Rodriguez Eulogio, Rodriguez Rufus, Roman, Romero, Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yeda Marie, Romualdo, Romulo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sakaluran, Salceda, Sali, Salimbangon, Salo, Salvame, Santos, Saulug, Silverio, Singson Richel, Singson Ronald, Singson Mihan, Solon, Suwan, Suwansing Horacio, Suwansing Micaela Angela, Suarez, Talyado, Tamayo, Tambunting, Tan Joseph, Tan Keith Micah, Tan Reynolds Michael, Tan Samir, Tan Stephen James, Tan Tambut, Tan Chay, Tan Watko, Tariela, Teodoro, Teves, Tiangco, Tieng, Tolentino, Tulfo Erwin, Tulfo Jocelyn, Tulfo Ralph Wendell, Tupas, Tutor, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Uy, Valeriano, Valmayor, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velasco, Veloso Tuazon, Vergara, Verzosa, Villa, Villafuerte Luis Raymond, Villafuerte Miguel Luis, Villanueva, Villar, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Violago, Yamsuan, Yap Christiantel, Yap Christopherson, Yap Edvi, Yap Eric, Yu Divina Grace, Yu Jazel Victoria, Yulo, Zamora Amparo Maria, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Isabel Maria, Zubiri. Madam Speaker, the roll call shows that 205 members responded to the call.
With 205 members responding to the call, the chair declares a presence of quorum. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we now proceed with the reference of business and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as communications and resolutions, committee reports, if any. So move, Madam Speaker.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the bills on first reading.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. House Bill 9839, strengthening the national policy and wealth generation by maximizing the benefits derived from the development and utilization of Philippine genetic resources.
To the Committee on Science and Technology.
House Bill 9840, establishing a satellite campus of the Benguet State University in Kapangan, Benguet, to be known as the BSU Kapangan Campus, by Representative Yap Eric.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 9842, granting Philippine citizenship to David Loran Sison, by Representative Lacson.
To the Committee on Justice.
House Bill 9843, declaring January 15 of every year a special non-working holiday in Amadeo, Cavite in commemoration of the Amadeo Foundation Day, by Representative Remulla.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 9844, declaring February 8 of every year a special non-working holiday in Tiaong, Quezon Province, to be known as Claro M. Recto Day, by Representative Suarez.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 9845, granting employees 3 days paid leave to attend school-related activities of their children, by Representative Bolilia.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment and the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill 9846, declaring Gat Jose P. Rizal as the national hero, by Representative Suwan.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 9847, exempting PWDs from parking fees in all commercial establishments and government buildings and providing exemption from the number coding scheme, by Representative Suwan.
To the Special Committee on Persons with Disabilities.
House Bill 9848, expanding the privileges of senior citizens by exempting senior citizens from parking fees in all commercial establishments and government buildings and providing exemption from the number coding scheme, by Representative Suwan.
To the Committee on Senior Citizens.
House Bill 9849, expanding the privileges of solo parents by exempting solo parents from parking fees in all commercial establishments and government buildings, by Representative Suwan.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill 9850, enhancing the benefits and privileges granted to senior citizens, by Representative Suwan.
To the Committee on Senior Citizens.
House Bill 9851, declaring January 9 of every year a special non-working holiday in the entire country to commemorate the Feast of the Black Nazarene, by Representative Suwan.
To the Committee on Revision of Laws.
House Bill 9852, extending the validity period of the PRC-issued professional identification cards in accordance with laws governing the practice of professionals in the Philippines, by Representative Yulo.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill 9853, providing for free epoetin injection for dialysis treatment of indigent patients in the Philippines, by Representative Yulo.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 9854, establishing a soil testing laboratory facility in each agricultural district in the Philippines, by Representative Yulo.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 9855, providing for an annual soil survey and conservation program by Representative Yulo.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill numbers 9856 to 9858, establishing fish ports in certain municipalities in Capiz by Representative Ginto.
To the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources.
House Bill 9860, providing for the development and protection of the Philippine handloom weaving industry by Representative Barba.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry.
House Bill 9861, promoting and supporting the development of the corn industry, establishing the Philippine Corn Research Institute by Representative Barba.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Bill 9862, integrating a foundational computer programming curriculum for grade schools and junior high schools by Representative Suwan.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 9863, establishing veterans medical centers in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao by Representative Suwan.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 9864, renaming the Veterans Memorial Medical Center located in Diliman, Quezon City to Veterans Medical Center by Representative Suwan.
To the Committee on Health.
House Bill 9865, declaring April 21st of every year as a special non-working holiday in Calamba City, Laguna in commemoration of its cityhood anniversary by Representative Hernandez.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 9866, establishing a regulatory regime for electronic cigarette manufacturing by Representative Salceda.
To the Committee on Trade and Industry and the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill 9867, to accelerate the discovery and development of innovative medicines by strengthening clinical trials and for other purposes by Representatives Romualdez Ferdinand Martin, Romualdez Yadamari, Asidre, and Gato.
To the Committee on Health.
Resolutions. House Resolution 1560, congratulating and commending Alex Iyala for winning the International Tennis Federation W50 Pune tournament held in India on January 27, 2024 by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 1561, expressing the profound sympathy and sincerest condolences of the House on the demise of former Representative Aniceto G. Saludo Jr. by Representative Plato.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1562, expressing unwavering solidarity and support to the leadership of the Honorable Speaker Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez and upholding the integrity and honor of the House of Representatives in the face of intense assault from the Senate in violation of the principle of interparliamentary courtesy and undue interference in the performance of its legislative and constituent functions by Representatives Gonzales Aurelio, Puno, Villar, Singson Mihan, Mendoza, Frasco, Balindong, Albano, Suarez, Dalipe, Libanan, and other House members.
To the Committee on Rules.
Communications. Various reports submitted by local government chief executives and officials regarding the fund utilization and status of program project implementation of the Local Government Support Fund.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Committee report. Committee report number 941, submitted by the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation on House Bill number 9859.
To the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, may we recognize the guests of the Honorable Jervil Jinky Beatrix Luistro of the 2nd District of Batangas. With us today are guests from the municipality of Bawan, Batangas, and we have the Parent Teacher Association Presidents. We have Rodora Dapat, Eliza B. Karingal, Apol Contreras, Don Halili, Baby Lynn Abu, Maria Brual Guevara, Hazel M. Cruzat, Rica Marie Cruzat, Raquel Pakatkatin, Jeneline Ofracio, Elaine May Castillo, Jane Aguirre, Arlene Dualio, Jocelyn Gutierrez, Lorna Abanes, Roda Lucero, Raquel B. Buenviaje, Glyza Baskugin, Leia Arellano, Merly Casapaw, Antoinette Maranan, Adelaida Serrano, Suzette Magpantay, Arnold Antipado, Michelle Pasha, Rosalie Pilares. We also have the district staff, Ronnie Marquez, Starly Kim Buendia, and Christian Sampan.
To the guests of Honorable Jinky Beatrix Luistro from the municipality of Bawan in Batangas, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader,
Madam Speaker, before we proceed, may we recognize the guests of Honorable Adrian A.J. Advincula, representative of the 3rd District of Cavite. His guests are from the Liga ng Barangay, City of Imus, namely Honorables Raimundo Ramirez, Laila Cabillo, Rolito Galang, Jomar Dagumboy, Leomar Kamat, Ferdinand Condalor, Roberto Dominguez, Mark Luigi Igtiben, Alexander Harin, Eduardo Monzon, Rigel Belia, Romel Nas, Eugenio Octavo.
to the guests of Honorable A.J. Advincula from the City of Imus Cavite, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader,
Madam Speaker, considering that Journal Number 47, dated January 31, 2024, were already distributed to the members, I move that we dispense with the reading thereof and subsequently to approve the journal. So move, Madam Speaker.
is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The reading of Journal Number 47, dated January 31, 2024, is dispensed with, and the same is hereby approved. Majority Leader,
Madam Speaker, I move that to suspend session for a few minutes.
session is suspended.
Session resumed. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, I move to consider House Resolution number 1562 and direct the Secretary General to read the title of the resolution.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Is there no objection? The chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the title of House Resolution number 1562. Secretary General.
House Resolution number 1562. Resolution expressing unwavering solidarity and support to the leadership of the Honorable Speaker, Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, and upholding the integrity and honor of the House of Representatives in the face of intense assault from the Senate in violation of the principle of interparliamentary courtesy and undue interference in the performance of its legislative and constituent functions.
Maraming salamat. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Dong Gonzales Jr. to sponsor the measure.
Senior Deputy Speaker Aurelio Dong D. Gonzales Jr. is recognized to sponsor the measure. Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Esteemed members and distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon po. Today, I stand before you with a heart full of resolve and a voice echoing the collective sentiment of this august chamber in the midst of Senate's accusations and confrontational stance. We affirm our unwavering solidarity and support to the leadership of the Honorable Speaker Ferdinand Martin Gomez Romualdez and uphold the integrity and honor of the House of Representatives. Mr. Speaker, in the course of the performance of our legislative duties, it is a matter of course that we encounter diverse opinions and perspectives. These are vital to our parliamentary process and healthy sign of a vibrant democracy. However, recent events have cast a dark shadow over the decorum and mutual respect that should define the relationship between our co-equal legislative bodies. The unfounded allegations hardened by some members of the Senate on the issues surrounding the People's Initiative are direct violation of interparliamentary courtesy and undermine the independence and integrity of the House of Representatives. My honorable colleagues, we must, as one body, rise in defense of the leadership and dignity of our institution against these ridiculous allegations. Unsubstantiated, and they are, which foster a climate of mistrust that is detrimental to our nation's progress. And it is imperative that we denounce these underhanded tactics that erode public trust in our parliamentary processes. By approving resolution of both houses number 6, we sought to amend our Constitution and make our beloved Philippines a more investor-friendly and globally competitive country. This initiative, in support of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s agenda, was conducted with the utmost legal and procedural integrity. We have no involvement in the signature drive to amend the Constitution, and it was, in fact, initiated by a private organization. We, however, respect the people's initiative as it clearly manifests the essence of our country's democratic process. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, in the face of these unfounded indictments, the Speaker has bravely defended the integrity and honor of the House of Representatives. Yet, he continues to call upon our honorable members to be discerning while observing mutual difference to a co-equal legislative body. Through House Resolution number 1562, not only do we express our support to the leadership of the Speaker, but we likewise reaffirm our commitment to the principles of respectful dialogue and adherence to interparliamentary courtesy. We stand as one as House, one voice, rejecting divisiveness and dedicating ourselves to the pursuit of harmony and cooperation between our legislative houses. Both houses of Congress share the noble purpose of crafting a better future for our nation. It is with this shared responsibility that I call upon everyone to stand together as one and reaffirm our commitment to work for the betterment of the Filipino people. Now, it is the time for us to unite and address these challenges. I implore you to support the adoption of this resolution with a sense of urgency and in the spirit of unity. Let us defend the integrity of our institution. Give our full, unwavering support to the Speaker and ensure that we continue to serve the people with the honor and dedication they deserve. Let us move forward with dignity and unwavering commitment to uphold the democratic peoples that binds us. Sa inyo pong lahat, maya pagkat panapon, dakal pong salamat. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Maraming salamat, Senior Deputy Speaker Gonzales. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Luis Raymond L. Ray Villafuerte Jr. of the 2nd District of Camarines Sur for his manifestation.
Representative L. Ray Villafuerte, 2nd District of Camarines Sur, is recognized. Please proceed, sir.
Esteemed Speaker, respected members of the House, and valued citizens of our nation, today, as the leader of the National Unity Party, I address this august body to voice our steadfast support for the resolution that stands as a bulwark against the recent actions of the Senate against its co-equal legislative chamber in our country. This resolution symbolizes our unwavering commitment to uphold the sanctity and autonomy of the House of Representatives. The heart of this resolution lies in the core principles of our core democratic governance as enshrined in Article 17 of our Constitution. In its pursuit of national development, in keeping with the vision of President Marcos Jr., this House, under the leadership of Speaker Martin Romualdez, has responsibly embarked on an initiative to rid our Constitution of its anachronistic economic provisions that have barred the inflows of foreign direct investments commensurate with our status as one of Asia's fastest-growing economies pre- and post-pandemic. The passage of resolution of both houses number 6 is a crucial step towards this endeavor, reflecting our collective resolve to steer our nation towards a more vibrant and prosperous future. As this happened, our country witnessed the initiative by people's organizations and civic groups endeavoring to gather public support for constitutional amendments. Regrettably, Mr. Speaker, though this commendable initiative from the grassroots has been clouded by severe allegations from certain senators, casting aspersions on the integrity of this House and its esteemed members who have surprisingly and unfortunately become the subject of a Senate inquiry. These public hearings, Mr. Speaker, contravene interparliamentary courtesy and reek of undue interference by members of one chamber in the official acts of legislators belonging to the other. In a bicameral setup, such as what we have in the Philippine Congress, respect, civility, and decorum among members of both chambers forbid legislators belonging to one body to be investigating those of the other, and more so when there is actually nothing to investigate about such peers. There is no room for such a breach in the spirit of bicameralism, as members of the Senate and the House are co-equals in our national legislature. Co-equals, Mr. Speaker. The NUP, while championing transparency and the ethos of accountability, believe that the approach adopted by senators exceeds the bounds of constructive scrutiny and ventures into the realm of undue disparagement. Such actions not only compromise the decorum expected between co-equal branches of government, but also impinge upon the honor and autonomy of this House. In these testing times, Mr. Speaker, Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez has chosen wisely to remain above the fray, exemplifying astute leadership and navigating the turbulent political waters with grace and an unwavering commitment to uphold the principles of mutual respect and independence between the two legislative chambers of our Congress. United under the credo of one House, one voice, we stand in solidarity with our Speaker, repudiating baseless allegations and safeguarding the dignity and sovereignty of this institution. With this resolution, the National Unity Party affirms and reaffirms its alliance with Speaker Martin Romualdez and the legislative agenda of the President in his vision for a peaceful and prosperous nation. We vehemently object to the Senate's contentious methods, which undermine not only the cooperative ethos essential for effective governance, but also erode the trust of our citizenry in the Congress in particular, and for our democratic processes in general. We advocate for a restoration of dignified discourse and a recommitment to the principles of interchamber respect and courtesy, and the continuous pursuit of a close and harmonious working relationship between the Senate and the House for the greatest good of our people. The National Unity Party wholeheartedly endorses this resolution, and we pledge to defend the independence and integrity of this House as we remain committed to the relentless quest for our nation's sustainable progress and prosperity. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Villafuerte of NUP. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Robert Ace Barbers of the 2nd District of Surigao del Norte.
Congressman Representative Barbers is recognized for his manifestation. Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Majority Leader. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, and fellow citizens of our great nation. Today, I stand before you as a proud leader of the Nacionalista Party, compelled by our enduring commitment to democracy, to voice our unflinching support for the resolution presented in the House of Representatives. This resolution, a testament to our democratic principles, expresses unwavering solidarity with the Honorable Speaker Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez and upholds the integrity and honor of the House in the wake of severe criticisms from the Senate. Our Constitution, the cornerstone of our democracy, outlines the processes for its amendment. The House of Representatives, under the guidance of Speaker Romualdez, has taken steps to amend the economic provisions of the Constitution, fostering a more investor-friendly and globally competitive Philippines. This initiative, embodied in resolution of both Houses number 6, reflects our dedication to national progress. Yet, in the pursuit of these commendable goals, the House has faced malicious, imagined, and baseless accusations from some hallucinating and paranoid members of the Senate. Unfounded allegations of fraudulent initiatives and misuse of government resources have cast a shadow over the support extended by individual congressmen to the People's Initiative. However, as members of the Nationalista Party, we believe in the importance of due process and the presumption of innocence. The disrespectful and confrontational stance adopted by the Senate not only breaches interparliamentary courtesy, but also undermines the integrity of our parliamentary institutions. It is our firm belief that actions taken by petitioners of the People's Initiative were in line with legal and democratic processes. The accusations leveled against the House and the Speaker, while unfairly questioning the integrity of our chamber, are seriously wanting in substance and merit to deserve any attention. The Nationalista Party, therefore, stands in solidarity with the House of Representatives in rejecting these unfounded accusations. We advocate for the defense of the dignity and integrity of our institution and offer our full support to Speaker Martin Romualdez. In a time where cooperative governance is more crucial than ever, confrontational tactics serve only to erode public confidence and hinder our collective progress. Speaker Martin Romualdez has nothing but good intentions for the country. A leader who consults, listens, and values consensus as a tool in decision-making. A leader who always thinks of protecting the integrity and credibility of the institution and our honorable members. We call for the restoration of respectful dialogue and adherence to interparliamentary courtesy. It is imperative that both houses of Congress work in harmony for the betterment of our people and our nation. The spirit of cooperative governance must prevail over divisive conflicts. The Nationalista Party remains committed to upholding the principles of democracy, the rule of law, and the sanctity of our parliamentary institutions. We support this resolution as a formal denunciation of the Senate's confrontational tactics and a reaffirmation of our collective duty to serve the people with honor, integrity, and respect for democratic processes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat, Nationalista Party through Representative Barbers. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Jose Pepito Alvarez of the 2nd District of Palawan for his manifestation.
Congressman Jose Pepito Alvarez of the province of Palawan is recognized for your manifestation, sir.
Mr. Speaker, mga kasama ko sa Kongreso, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Jose Alvarez po, kinatawan ng 2nd Distrito ng Palawan. I firmly stand to support Resolution 1562 and the leadership of Speaker Martin Romualdez. Thank you.
Daghang salamat, Congressman Alvarez. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Florida Rida Robes of the Lone District of San Jose del Monte City for her manifestation.
Representative Robes is recognized for her manifestation. Please proceed.
Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Honorable colleagues, distinguished members of the House, and fellow citizens. As the leader of Partido Federal, I rise today to express our unequivocal support for the resolution upholding the integrity and honor of our House of Representatives, and to extend our solidarity to Speaker Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez in these challenging times. The crux of this resolution revolves around the principles of respect, cooperation, and adherence to the constitutional process. It is grounded in the spirit of constructive legislative action. As envisioned by our forefathers in the 1987 Constitution, our support for this resolution is not merely a matter of party lines or political conveniences. It is a testament to our commitment to the democratic values that underpin our nation. In recent times, the House of Representatives, under the leadership of Speaker Romualdez, took a bold step in proposing amendments to the economic provisions of our Constitution. This initiative aligns with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s vision of a Philippines that is welcoming to investors and competitive on the global stage. Resolution of both Houses number 6, which seeks a constitutional convention, represents a critical steps towards realizing this vision. However, the path to progress is often fraught with obstacles. A recent campaign initiated by ordinary Filipinos, the People's Initiative, has faced unwarranted accusations from the Senate challenging the integrity of the House and its members. These allegations, which suggest fraudulent practices and misuse of government resources, have cast a shadow over our legislative process and led to the suspension of acceptance of signature sheets for the constitutional amendment. Partido Federal recognizes the importance of scrutiny and accountability in our democratic system. However, when such scrutiny turns into confrontation and undermines the principle of interparliamentary courtesy, it becomes a matter of grave concern. The Senate's approach, as it currently stands, not only challenges the integrity of the House, but also impacts the spirit of cooperative governance. Hindi po kami nakikipag-away. Our support for this resolution is rooted in the belief that respectful dialogue and mutual understanding are the cornerstones of effective governance. The unfounded accusation and confrontational tactics employed by the Senate and others are counterproductive and only serve to erode public trust in our parliamentary processes. Minsan po talagang proseso ang nagiging problema, sabi nga nila. Pero hindi naman po talaga kung ito po ay napapag-usapan. In solidarity with the Speaker and the House of Representatives, Partido Federal stands firm in rejecting these baseless allegations. We commit ourselves to defending the dignity and integrity of this institution. This resolution is a call for unity, a unity that transcends party lines and personal agendas, focusing instead on the greater good of our nation. We urge the Senate to join us in the spirit of cooperative governance. Let us work together, respecting each other's roles and responsibilities, to foster an environment where constructive dialogue prevails. Our collective aim should be the welfare and advancement of our people, and this can only be achieved through harmonious collaboration. Partido Federal fully endorses this resolution. We stand with the Speaker, we stand with the House, and above all, we stand for the principle of respect, integrity, and democratic governance. Let us move forward together, united in our principles, for the good of our nation and its people. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po ang bagong Pilipinas.
Maraming salamat, Partido Federal of Representative Rida Robes. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Jose Bong Teves Jr. of TGP Party List for his manifestation.
Congressperson Bong Teves Jr., Party List TGP of the PCFI, you recognize.
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker,
Okay.
fellow colleagues, as Executive Vice President of the Party List Coalition, and on behalf of the 57-member Party List Coalition Bloc of the 19th Congress, headed by our President, Congressman Elizalde Esco of the Ako Bicol Party List, we strongly support the resolution expressing unwavering solidarity in support to the leadership of the Honorable Speaker Ferdinand Martin J. Romualdez. In upholding the integrity and honor of the House of Representatives in the face of intense assault from the Senate in violation of the principles of parliamentary courtesy and undue interference in the performance of its legislative and constituent function. Mr. Speaker, ang koalisyon po ng party list congressmen sa kamalang ito ay united at patuloy na solido ang aming paniniwala sa delirato ni Speaker Romualdez at sa kanyang mga mabubuting adikain hindi lamang para sa House of Representatives kundi maging sa bansang Pilipinas. Sa katunayan lang, makikita natin sa media na siya po ang kauna-unahang leader ng ating bansa na tumulong sa mga nasalanta ng baha sa Davao del Sur at sa Davao del Norte. Marami pa pong ganong pangyayari ng ating speaker ay siyang nangunguna sa pagtulong sa ating kapwa Pilipino. Likewise, we strongly condemn the assaults made by our colleagues in the Senate towards a co-equal branch of Congress. Ang pahayag na sinasabi ng ating mga kaibigang senador ay masakit sa amin dahil tayong mga district at party list congressmen ay mga national leaders din katulad nila. We also elected by the people just like them at ang mandato natin bilang district at party list congressmen ay national in scope. Gusto ko rin pong ipalalahanin ang ating mga kaibigang senador na kayo ay lumalapit din sa mga district at party list congressman para humingi ng tulong tuwing kayo ay tumatakbo bilang senador. Sana wag niyong kalimutan na kabahagi po kami ng inyong panalo. Mr. Speaker, instead of attacking us, we ask our friend in the Senate to work hand in hand with the House of Representatives in accomplishing our mandate from the electorate by making meaningful laws toward the development of our country. To Madam Senator Amy Marcos, hindi po ba kayo natutuwa ng inyong kapatid ay presidente ng Republika ng Pilipinas? Also, the family of former President Rodrigo Duterte, hindi po ba kayo natutuwa na si Vice President Sara ay katuwang ng ating Pangulo bilang pangalawang Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas? Iwasan natin ang bangayan. Iwasan natin ang hindi pagkakaunawaan. Tayo ay magkaisa. Isulong ang bagong Pilipinas na gusto ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. Once again, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of Elizalde Co, the Party List Coalition President, we stand solidarity with our Speaker, Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, and we support the efforts of our President Bongbong Marcos Jr. in his advocacy of Bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat. PCFI Party List Coalition Foundation, Inc., Representative Teves, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Mark Wangco of the 5th District of Pangasinan for his manifestation.
Representative Cojuangco is recognized for his manifestation. Please proceed, sir.
Mr. Speaker, District 2 of Pangasinan. District 2. I'd just like to manifest that I fully support House Resolution 1562. This representation finds that the Speaker has done nothing wrong, and it is a duty to try to end the constitutional ambiguity of our 1987 Constitution, Article 17, Section 1, Number 1. And it is our right as representatives to be able to express our beliefs to our constituents. I think that we have not overstepped our bounds in exercising that right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat, Representative Mark Cojuangco, 2nd District of Pangasinan. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Michael John R. Duavit of the 1st District of Rizal for his manifestation.
Representative Duavit is recognized for his manifestation. Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, dear colleagues. I will keep this brief. I don't think there's much to add, except this, Every resolution we pass is a formal and official expression of this body's sentiment at any given point in time. I'm here to tell our dear colleagues that we join them in supporting this resolution and merely to state that the sentiments expressed in this resolution are both widespread and real. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Duavit of NPC. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Maria Alana Samantha Santos of the 3rd District of Cotabato
The representative.
for her manifestation.
Thank you, Majority Leader. 3rd District, North Cotabato, Representative Maria Alana Samantha Santos. You recognize.
Honorable colleagues, esteemed members of the House, and fellow citizens, as an officer of the Lakas CMD Party, I stand before you today to affirm my unwavering solidarity and support for the leadership of Speaker Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, and to defend the integrity and honor of our esteemed House of Representatives. This recent action of the Senate mark a confrontational stance and allegations against the House and its members constitutes not only a breach of interparliamentary courtesy, but also an undue interference to our legislative and constituent functions. Our Constitution, under Article 17, empowers us to propose amendments and revisions. In line with this, and supporting President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s vision for a more investor-friendly and globally competitive Philippines, our House has taken proactive steps. This includes the proposal of resolution of both Houses number 6, aiming to amend economic provisions in the Constitution that are barriers for potential investors. This resolution, reflecting our commitment for national progress, was duly passed by the House and transmitted to the Senate. The People's Initiative for Modernization and Reform Action, a private entity embarking on a separate yet parallel path, gathering signatures to amend the 1987 Constitution, Regardless, this initiative has been met with accusations from the Senate, alleging fraudulent actions and misuse of government resources. These allegations, which prompt the COMELEC to suspend the acceptance of signature sheets, are serious and demand scrutiny. However, this manner in which the Senate has pursued these allegations undermines the respect and independence that should exist between two legislative bodies. It is essential to underscore that taking criticism and engaging in constructive debate are fundamental for a thriving democracy. Nonetheless, the allegation leveled by the Senate not only challenges the integrity of our institution, but only erodes the public confidence in our parliamentary process. Such confrontational tactics are counterproductive to the spirit of cooperative governance. In this challenge, Speaker Romualdez has exemplified leadership by guiding us in upholding the dignity and honor of our House. This is our duty as representatives of the people to stand united in rejecting these unfounded accusations, to commit ourselves to defend the dignity and integrity of our institution. Therefore, through this resolution, authored by 283 House members, we express our firm solidarity with Speaker Romualdez and reaffirm our commitment to uphold the honor of the House. We denounce the confrontational tactics employed by the Senate, which harms the spirit of cooperative governance and shakes the public's confidence in our democratic process. We call for a return for respectful dialogue and adherence to the norms of interparliamentary courtesy. It is imperative that both Houses of Congress work in harmony for the betterment of our people and our nation, rather than engaging in unproductive, divisive conflict. The Lakas CMD party stands resolute in its support for the resolution, dedicated to preserving the integrity of our parliamentary institution and committed to working towards the progress of our beloved country. Thank you.
Daghang salamat. Lakas, Representative Santos. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Gabriel Bordado Jr. of the 3rd District of Camarines Sur for his manifestation.
Representative Bordado is recognized for his manifestation. Please proceed, sir.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just the other day, the Philippine Statistics Authority unraveled a rather unnerving report that the Philippine government missed its economic growth target for 2023 because of the debilitating effects of inflation, among other things. The economic growth rate was recorded at 5.6% year-on-year in 2023, a bit too far from 7.6% increase in 2022 and a tad lower than the targeted expansion of at least 6%. Yet, Mr. Speaker, the 5.6% growth rate in 2023 brought about, according to experts, by investment, services, and consumption, was good enough for the Philippines to overtake Vietnam and Malaysia, making it the fastest growing economy in the entire Southeast Asian region. I therefore commend the Marcos administration for achieving this feat. mounting problems and difficulties notwithstanding. In other words, Mr. Speaker, the economy is the be-all and end-all element at this stage. Just a short period after the devastation of almost biblical proportions wrought by the COVID-19 pandemic. So, Mr. Speaker, let's stop this political infighting now and collectively focus on further improving our economy and equitably distributing the benefits thereof to all sectors of society, particularly the marginalized ones. Mr. Speaker, as for the leadership issue in the House, Speaker Martin Romualdez has consistently demonstrated his exemplary leadership capabilities since assuming the post of Majority Leader in the 18th Congress. Even as a member of the minority bloc, Mr. Speaker, I am therefore expressing my absolute and categorical support for House Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez and calling for the approval of House Resolution number 1562. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat, Representative Bordado. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to adopt House Resolution number 1562.
Thank you, Majority Leader. There is a motion to adopt House Resolution 1562. As many as in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution 1562 is therefore adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move to recognize Representative Raul Manuel of Kabataan Party List for a manifestation.
Kabataan Party List Raul. Congressman Raul, please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Magandang hapon sa ating mga kapwa mambabatas. Consistent ang representasyon ng kabataan sa pagtutol sa charter change dahil hindi ito ang solusyon sa malalim at matagal ng mga problema ng bayan. Sa katunayan, ano ang aral na nakuha naming mga kabataan mula sa kasaysayan ng ating bansa noong binubuyangyang na natin ito sa mga dayuhan? Lumala lamang ang pandarambong ng mga dayuhan at malalaking kumpanya sa mayamang human and natural resources ng Pilipinas. Dapat natuto na po tayo. Habang naririto tayo, nananatili ang malawakang disempleo, paglaganap ng mga trabahong di nakakasapat para magbuhay ng pamilya at banta ng kawalan ng hanap buhay para sa maraming Pilipino dahil sa mga programang makadayuhan at makakorporasyon. Mismong GDP growth targets ng pamahalaan noong 2023 ay hindi nito naabot. Hindi dahil sa konstitusyon, pero dahil sa mababa pa ring ranking ng Pilipinas sa Global Corruption Index, pagpapaubaya sa pagdevelop ng local energy sources para mapababa sana ang presyo ng kuryente, at mga sistematikong problemang hanggang ngayon ay hindi seryosong hinaharap ng Malacanang. Charter change is packaged as the magic pill to the economic problems of the country. Pero ayon nga sa mga Gen Z, this charter change, it's not giving. That said, hindi dapat magsayang ng oras, lakas at rekurso ng bayan sa charter change. Dapat ituon natin ang ating atensyon sa pagresolba ng ugat ng mga problema ng bayan para maipatupad ang mga pangmatagalang solusyon. Tunay na reformang agraryo, at ang pagtindig ng mga pambansang industriya. Ito ang mga sangkap para matiyak na may disenteng trabaho at nakabubuhay na sahod, abot kaya ang presyo ng mga bilihin, walang magugutom at may sapat na supply ng pagkain at raw materials para sa pangangailangan ng mga Pilipino. Also, Mr. Speaker, my conscience dictates that I speak in behalf of our fellow citizens na nagsumite ng mga ulat, nagsumite sa ating opisina hinggil sa mga nakikita nilang hindi maayos at hindi tama sa kondukta ng gumugulong na People's Initiative para sa charter change. That said, Mr. Speaker, this representation with the Makabayan Coalition abstains from House Resolution number 1562. Salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Salamat, Congressman Manuel. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Arlene Brosas of Gabriela Party List.
Congresswoman Arlene Brosas, you recognize. Please proceed, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, our position in the House Resolution 1562 is abstain for the following reasons. We have been consistent in Gabriela Women's Party in our stance, no to charter change in any form, especially now during the Marcos administration. We opposed the so-called People's Initiative and we voted against the RBH 6. Lugmok na lugmok ang kalagayan ngayon ng ating bansa. Mababang sahod, kawalan ng trabaho, napakataas na presyo ng mga bilihin at pampublikong serbisyo. Ang lumalalang krisis sa bansa ang dapat na pagtuunan ng pansin ng House of Representatives at ng Senate at hindi ang pagkakaroon ng pagtatalo tungkol sa pagbabago ng konstitusyon o charter change. Walang anumang direktang dulot ang tsa-tsa para tugunan ang mga kagyat na suliranin ng mamamayan sa napakababang antas ng pasahod, nagtataas ang presyo ng mga bilihin at sa malawakang pagwasak sa kabuhayan ng mga tsuper at operator ng jeep, sa aktwal ay lalong pasasahulin pa ng tsa-tsa ang mga suliraning ito dahil sa todong pagbuyangyang sa lokal na ekonomiya sa pakinabang ng mga nagdayuhang negosyo. Lalong palalalain ito ang mga patakarang neoliberal at magdudulot ng panganib sa demokrasya at soberanya ng ating bansa. Sa halip na iratsyada ang tsa-tsa at magkaroon ng pagtatalo ang mga kinatawan ng mamamayan sa loob ng House of Representatives at Senate, naninindigan ng kababaihan na mas kinakailangan tugunan ang pangunahing problema ng mamamayang Pilipino. Anumang moda ng pagbabago ng konstitusyon, mapa-People's Initiative o economic provisions, hindi ito tatanggapin ng mga Pilipino dahil ang tsa-tsa ngayon ay malinaw na hindi para sa mamamayan kundi para sa dayuhan. Ang panawagan po ng ating mga mamamayan ay kabuhayan, lupa, karapatan at kasarinlan. Hindi charter change, no, para sa iilan at para sa dayuhan. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat, Congresswoman Brosas. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, we recognize the guests of the Honorable Lodi Tariela, headed by the Mayor of Occidental Mindoro in the municipality of Sablayan, the Honorable Walter Bong Marquez. They are now in the plenary, Your Honor. And
To the guests of Congressman Tariela, the LGU of Negros Occidental Mindoro, Sablayan. Are you here? Please stand. On behalf of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, welcome to this August chamber. Magandang hapon. Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend session for a few minutes.
Kindly repeat, Majority Leader.
We suspend session for a few minutes, Mr. Speaker.
Session suspended. Gawin natin, Dave. Bills on first reading? At tapos na yung boss. First reading. Baka PS, tutuloy nila, privilege speech. Privilege speech.
Ano yan?
Una. List daw ng names. Next yun na lang.
May we have silence in the August chamber? Session resumed. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, before we proceed, may we acknowledge the guests of the Honorable Loreto B. Acharon of the Lone District of General Santos City, Kagawad George Bisnar, the National Executive Vice President of the Federasyon ng mga Barangay Kagawad ng Pilipinas.
Ating mga bisita o kauban from the General Santos City of Congressman Loreto Acharon, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, today being a Monday and pursuant to our rules, I move that we open the privilege hour.
Majority Leader, please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Brian Revilla of the Agimat Party List to avail of the privilege hour.
Agimat Party List, Brian Revilla. Please proceed, sir. You recognize.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Binabati ko po kayo at ang buong sambayan ng Pilipino ng isang maligayang pambansang buwan ng sining. Mr. Speaker, please allow this representation to speak of one of the richest components of Filipino culture. Ito po ang sining ng pagluluto. Malaki po ang parte na ginagampanan ng pagkain sa ating kultura. Allow me to paraphrase a popular idiom. The way to know the Filipino's heart is through his stomach. If we want to know the character of the Filipino, dapat po tikman natin ang pagkaing Pinoy. You can taste your way through the life of Filipino from the way we prepare, serve, and eat our food. One takeaway comes to light. The Filipino is creative. Malikain po ang mga Pilipino. As a matter of fact, Philippine regions and provinces are known for such creativity in gastronomy. Bawat sulok po ng Pilipinas, mula Batanes hanggang Hulo, meron maipagmamalaking pagkain para sa sinumang bisita. When you go to the north, who can ever forget the empanadas of Ilocos and their bagnet? Sa Cagayan Valley naman, masarap po ang pinakbet at dinakdakan. Pag-akyat naman po natin ng Baguio, nandyan ang napakatamis na strawberries at ang world-famous ube jam. Other regions in Luzon have more to offer. There is sisig in Pampanga, much adored by the late Anthony Bourdain, the laing and spicy Bicol Express of the Bicol region, the chicharon of Bulacan, and the tinapa of Rosario, Cavite. Different places have different concoctions of the well-loved longanisa. There's one from Imus, Cavite, one from Vigan, Ilocos Sur, and another from Lucban, Quezon. And the list goes on. When we visit Visayas, the experience is incomplete without trying its local cuisine. There is the lapas batchoy of Iloilo, chicken inasal of Bacolod, and other famous desserts that they are known for, such as the Napoleones and Piaya, just to name a few. Napakasikat din po ng lechon ng lalawigan ng Cebu, not to mention the chicharon karkar. Our kababayans in Visayas also make the most requested pasulubong of Filipinos abroad, dried mangoes along with otap and rosquillos. As we go further south, seafood comes to mind. The tuna of General Santos is perfect for any occasion. Curacha made from native crabs of Zamboanga could be cooked with sauce or steamed. Kilawin is also mouth-watering. Mr. Speaker, the way the Filipino prepares food is living proof of Filipinos' hard work, industry, and creativity. Our food products are a testament that throughout our long history, whatever raw materials the divine has blessed us with, the Filipinos can devise various delicious dishes from them. Hence, I urge the Congress to preserve and promote the Philippine gastronomy, and our culinary heritage. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, to devour Filipino cuisine is to immerse oneself in Filipino culture. Dinadayo po tayo ng ating mga turista, dinadayo po ng mga turista ang ating mga bayan dahil sa pagkain natin. In 2022, according to PSA data, tourists spent 94 billion pesos on food and beverages services. That's why supporting local food businesses is also a boost for tourism, which then contributes to our national economy. We commend the Department of Tourism for making food tourism a priority and an important pillar of their campaign to attract more foreign visitors. Mr. Speaker, I cannot do complete justice to the richness of Philippine gastronomy through one speech alone. There are aspects of Filipino culture that one cannot simply put into words. It can only be experienced through our taste buds. Thus, it is no surprise that Filipino restaurants serving our authentic cuisine are also making waves around the globe. I am pleased to let this august body know that a Filipino restaurant in Chicago named Kasama has been awarded a Michelin star in 2022. Michelin stars are given to restaurants across the globe considered the best in a given city. What an immense honor for our country. Sana po, balang araw, magkaroon din po ng Michelin star sa Pilipinas para mas lalo pa ho tayo dayuhin ng ang mga turista ang ating bansa. The creative manner of preparing and serving Filipino food is an essential part of Filipino identity. Our DNA is imbued with creativity. This does not only enrich our economy, but also bolster our culture here and abroad. Hence, Mr. Speaker, I implore this body to expediently approve measures, especially those arising out of the Special Committee of Creative Industries that preserve our culinary heritage, support Filipino food businesses, especially MSMEs, and promote the creative Filipino identity. Maraming salamat po at Happy National Arts Month sa ating lahat. Mabuhay po ang kulturang Pilipino.
Buhay kayo, Congressman Revilla. Maraming salamat. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Brian Revilla to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
Duly referred, Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I now move that the lady from BHW party list, the Honorable Angelica Natasha Ko, be recognized to avail of privilege hour.
BHW party list, Congressperson Nika Ko, you're recognized. Please proceed, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, every year the month of February has been designated as the National Arts Month by virtue of Proclamation 683 in 1991. Cognizant of the contribution and significance of the arts in nation building, Congress passed into law RA number 7365, otherwise known as the law creating the National Commission for Culture and the Arts in 1992. I rise today to speak on behalf of the Philippine creative sector, specifically the design domain, which includes the Filipino architects, interior designers, landscape artists, furniture designers, and many more. This group of people who are the dedicated and passionate individuals who advocate for the development and creation of spaces that are not just livable, but also exhibiting our rich culture and heritage. Philippines has proven again and again that Filipino talents can be at par with international designers. From design competitions to award-winning projects, our Filipino talents have been showcasing Filipino aesthetics and sensibilities in the international stage. This is beneficial for Filipinos in the design sector, such that companies and firms who get projects worldwide have employed hundreds or even thousands of Filipinos already. The benefit does not only fall on a few, but trickles down to many. Expressing support towards this group of people and to the development of the creative industry is a vital move towards economic growth, social cohesion, and cultural identity of the country. We have a lot of room for improvement and growth, especially in the face of challenges brought about by global competition. This is why, as a government and as Filipinos, we must harness the potential of the creative industries through supporting their furthering of education, skills improvement, and adaptation of sustainable practices in these projects. Supporting our very own talents and creatives will not only propel these individuals to a global market, but also those Filipinos working under them. This will ignite more jobs, more growth in the economy, and even better global knowledge of our identity as Filipinos. We need to support our creative workers and entrepreneurs who are not only sources of income and innovation, but also of inspiration and identity. We have a rich and diverse cultural heritage, which is reflected in our creative outputs. From the pre-colonial aesthetics of our indigenous peoples, to the Spanish-era influences of our colonial past, to the post-war and contemporary expressions of our modern society. We have a wealth of stories, of symbols and styles that make us uniquely Filipino. One of the examples of our creative excellence is our furniture industry, which has been recognized internationally for its quality and craftsmanship. Our furniture makers use Philippine-inspired designs and materials such as rattan, bamboo, kapis, and abaca to create pieces that are both functional and beautiful. They also incorporate sustainability principles such as using renewable and recycled resources, minimizing waste and pollution, and supporting local communities. The creative sector can further help not just the artists, but also those who supply the materials for their craft. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, it is incumbent upon Congress as a member of the NCCA to fully support the success of the National Arts Month, as well as the legislations to incentivize the sector. On this, I am very happy to note that our Honorable Speaker, Martin G. Romualdez, as well as the House Committee on Creative Industries under the leadership of our dear colleague and good friend, Chairman Honorable Christopher Toff de Venecia, are at the helm of ensuring the widest possible commemoration of the National Arts Month along with the NCCA. We urge our fellow lawmakers and stakeholders to do the same. We believe that by investing our creative capital, we are also investing in our human capital, our social capital, and our natural capital. We are investing in our health and wellness, our economy and culture, and our environment and society. Let us work together to recognize and enhance the field of creative industries in the Philippines and to harness its potential to improve our quality of life and well-being. Thank you very much and good day to everyone.
Maraming salamat, our Secretary General of the PCFI and Congressperson BHW Party List Nika Ko. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the speech of the Honorable Angelica Natasha Ko be referred to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
There's a motion to refer to the Committee on Rules. Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved to Committee of Rules referred. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Representative Christine Singson Mihan of the 2nd District of Ilocos Sur to avail of the privilege hour.
Our Deputy Speaker, Singson Mihan, is recognized. Please proceed, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Majority Leader, distinguished colleagues, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The month of February is also National Arts Month, featuring activities that foster the diversity of Filipino heritage and culture, showcase the creativity of Filipino artists, and honor artistic pursuits as a vital contribution to nation building. This afternoon, allow me to speak on a matter of personal and collective privilege on what is often called wearable art, that is, fashion and local weaves. Republic Act Number 11904, or the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act, a key piece of legislation spearheaded by the Creative Industries Committee Chair, Representative De Venecia, mandates the development of Philippine creative industries by protecting and strengthening the rights and capacities of stakeholders in the creative industries, including artists, artisans, and indigenous cultural communities. Notably, creative industries encompasses several domains, including design and subsume thereunder fashion and textiles development. Traditional clothing and local woven textiles from Abel to Tinalac are no longer confined to beauty pageants, Filipiniana-themed weddings, and the State of Nation address. Instead, with the advent of slow fashion, sustainability, and other buzzwords coupled within the support local movement, Filipiniana garments spun by local weavers and sourced from local looms are now taking center stage. Beyond the fashion statement, however, there is a need to look into the details of these indigenous textiles because the colors, patterns, and weaves point to the region, province, and indigenous community of the weaver, and such invaluable skills are passed down from generation to generation of weavers. In Abel, Abel Iloco, or Abel, is the standout weave of the Ilocos region, known for its comfort and durability. Abel may be woven with patterns and incorporates several weaving techniques and patterns as flashed on your skin. This includes binakol, pinilian, and kusikus. One of the country's national living treasures, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts awarded Magdalena Gamayo in 2012 for her mastery in Abel weaving. She continues to hone her craft and is set to celebrate her 100th birthday on August 13. Magdalena lives in one of the weaving communities of Pinili, Ilocos Norte, where she donated a portion of her family-owned lot to the provincial government next to the site of the Pinili Inabel Center, inaugurated in August 2023. Another well-known Abel weaver in the region is Corazon Agosto, whose weaving center is located in Santiago, Ilocos Sur. An illustration of the different indigenous fabrics in the Philippines and their respective communities is now flashed on your screens, including ikat for the Cordillera region, sinamay in Albay, pinya in Aklan, hablon in Iloilo, yakan in Zamboanga City and Basilan, tausog Pisiabit in Sulu. For South Cotabato, there is Tinalac, the red, black, and white fabric created by the Tibuli women of Lake Cebu, also called dream weavers. The goddess Fu Dalu visits these weavers in their dreams to impart the unique pattern to weave. On your screen is the late Lang Dulay, another NCCA awardee. The handloom weaving industry in the Philippines is a cottage industry that is centuries old, making use of raw materials like cotton, abaca, and pineapple. A British Council report entitled Sustaining Handloom Weaving in the Philippines highlights that weaving has become a source of rural employment and income for women. The impact of industrialization, mass production, and globalization, along with the lack of raw materials and decreasing number of local weavers, has negatively affected the growth of the industry. The Philippine Textile Research Institute, PTRI, an attached agency of the Department of Science and Technology, DOST, is mandated to conduct R&D, render technical service, and implement the transfer of textile technologies to support the local textile sector. In line with this, the DOST PTRI has embarked on a number of programs, including investments in infrastructure to advance the Philippine textile industry. These include building regional yarn production and innovation centers that convert cotton and other textile raw materials like pineapple leaf fiber, banana, abaca, and bamboo, among others, into yarn. Last month, the DOST PTRI inaugurated a bamboo textile fiber innovation hub in Langangilang, Abra. This launch was also part of DOST PTRI's celebration of Philippine Tropical Fabrics Month under the theme Spinning Innovations, which aims to promote a revitalized textile industry and a commitment to process and sustain natural fibers sourced within the country, from pineapple leaves to abaca, banana, bamboo, and Philippine silk. DOST-PTRI, in line with the Republic Act 9242, encourages the use of Philippine tropical fabrics for uniforms of public officials and employees to promote patriotism among government employees by advocating the use of locally produced textiles. Other programs initiated by the DOST-PTRI include, among others, SEDA Pilipinas, which looks at the development of Philippine silk, the Innovation Center for Yarns and Textiles in Bicutan, Taguig, establishment of the Natural Dyes Center, which leads the study and development of natural dyes sources from plants. Frontier, or fostering revitalization of nascent textile innovation and ecosystems, which strategically locate more textile innovation hubs and regional centers for natural dyes and handloom weaving innovation for an inclusive and innovative Philippine textile ecosystem. Creativity and equity through accelerated textile technology engagement and entrepreneurship ventures for vulnerable sectors partner with women, senior citizens, persons with disabilities, persons deprived of liberty, urban poor, and indigenous people, among other sectors, to further expand the reach of textile-based livelihoods. Textile Academy, which provides textile training programs. As legislators, we can craft the necessary legislation to aid in the growth and the local weaving sector. In the 19th Congress, House Bills number 8478 by Representative Ching Bernos and 4278 by Representative Toff de Venecia provide for the development and protection of the Philippine handloom weaving industry through the establishment of the National Handloom Weaving Development Council, creation of industry roadmap, and policies on innovation for handloom design and engineering. In 2021, news reports raised the issue of counterfeit Cordillera woven blankets from China flooding local markets, mostly machine-made replicas of textiles of inferior quality. Because of this, native weavers demanded protection. Thereafter, PTRI launched a program called Digitalization of the Philippine Handloom Weaving Industry, which highlighted the following: creation of digital weaving registry, a digital platform for textile traceability, digitalization of weavers to provide a database of original Philippine weave patterns using weaving software to support authenticity, covert security yarns for authentication of local weaves and fabrics. Prior to this program, as early as 2016, the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines started to require patent and trademark applications to disclose indigenous elements in respective replications. IPOPHIL continues to urge handloom weavers to protect the intellectual property of their original designs. In fact, the Tiboli tribe of Lake Cebu successfully registered a collective mark which the tribe uses for authentic Tinalak weaves. Protecting the subject mark would also be essential in preserving the cultural identity of the Tiboli tribe. You may recognize your dress made from IPOPHIL protected Tinalak cloth was also worn by Miss Universe Catriona Gay. We have only scratched the surface of understanding the intricacies of the local weaving industry and the weavers who share their time and talent in the creation of these local weaves. Nonetheless, my hope is that what I have shared with you today will not only impart a bit of information, but more importantly, instill pride in the bountiful culture of our weaves and our indigenous weavers, but also awaken a sense of curiosity to go beyond merely buying local hand-woven products, but also to learn more about the stories behind these products. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Maraming salamat. Deputy Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Christine Singsang Mihan to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
There's a motion to refer said speech. Any objection? Hearing none, the privileged speech of Deputy Speaker Singson Mihan, referred to Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we acknowledge to avail of the privilege hour the Honorable Francisco Kiko B. Benitez for his privileged speech.
To Chairman to Chair and Congressperson Kiko Benitez of Negros Occidental. You're recognized, sir. Please proceed.
Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, I rise today in a matter of personal and collective privilege. Isang malikhaing araw po sa ating lahat. This month, we celebrate Filipino creativity. Pursuant to Presidential Proclamation Number 683, Series of 1991, February of every year is National Arts Month. And this year's celebration highlights the vital role of creative expression in forging our identity and future as a nation. Ani ng Sining Bayang Malikhain, the theme of the National Arts Month 2024 banners the Filipino proclivity for creative production and aims to harness our creative capital towards inclusive development and a furtherance of our soft power. The Filipinos' unlimited creative potential, however, has been stunted by limited resources. That is why, Mr. Speaker, in the 18th Congress, we passed Republic Act number 11904, or the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act, a landmark law that provides a blueprint to grow our creative economy and support Filipino creatives in exploring ways of monetizing their imagination and furthering our national identity and pride. The concept of the creative economy is still evolving. The law requires and recognizes this dynamic and iterative nature of the creative process. It contemplates new creative forms will emerge as new methods and new technologies enable new creative expressions and content production. At the intersection of creative production and digital technology is animation, one of the creative industries enumerated in PISIDA. The Philippine animation industry has a long, colorful history, Mr. Speaker. However, most of our animation output have been for foreign productions. Our skilled animators produce content whose intellectual property and soft power accrues to foreign nations. Mabibilang po sa dalawang kamay ang na-produce na full-length Filipino animated films. Bagamat marami ng Pilipinong animator noong 1980s, the first full-length animated film, it seems, was only produced in 1997, the Adarna. The next would come only after 10 years, with Urduha and Dayo sa Mundo ng Elementalia being released in 2008. There are many factors why we have produced very few Filipino content animations. Una na dyan, ang brain drain. Maraming Pinoy animators ang nangingibang bayan due to limited career growth in the country. But perhaps more telling, there is a shortage of government support for Filipino animators and distributors. There is insufficient funding and marketing, kaya ang mga nanatili sa Pilipinas na animators, they create not for Filipinos, but for international studios. Since the 1980s, Filipino animators have been servicing international studios such as Disney, Cartoon Network, DreamWorks, and Warner Brothers. We have one of the largest outputs of Toei International that produce many of our globally famous anime. According to the Animation Council of the Philippines, major Filipino animation studios are exporting 100% of their output. And while the industry has grown steadily in the past 4 decades, its size is still small. Annual revenue is estimated only at $50 to $60 million, a minuscule share of the $371 billion global animation industry. Our animation industry is also highly concentrated. Only 4 animation studios account for 75% of total industry revenues, and most animation services are located in Metro Manila, where digital connectivity is most stable and fastest. The Animation Council of the Philippines has crafted a roadmap to become a top animation outsourcing hub to generate $141 million in revenues and create 13,000 jobs by 2028. With adequate government support, Mr. Speaker, I am sure we can achieve this. And not only to provide animation services to foreign studios, but perhaps more importantly, also produce and market locally created animation content that can compete in the global market. We must leverage Filipino talent to accelerate the growth of the animation industry. Many Filipino animators have made it big in Hollywood, contributing to the success of Disney and Pixar productions, such as Ray Bohol, Ruben Aquino, Arman Serrano, Mars Cabrera, Josie Trinidad, Ronnie Del Carmen, Cesar Velasquez, Jeannie Cruz Santos, and the list goes on. The Philippines has never had a shortage of talent, but we must enhance our human capital to perform high-complexity roles in the animation production pipeline. For decades, Filipino animators have been involved in the production and post-production phases, mostly working on assembly, character movement, or background painting. Now there is a growing demand for original content development, pre-production services, and even end-to-end services that may in fact contain Filipino stories for global audiences. We have a growing number of animation schools and training centers that are committed to cultivating new talent and upskilling Filipino animators. Right now, there are 32 animation schools in the country. TESDA has already training regulations for animation. Sana mas dumami pa ang HEIs and TVIs na mag-offer ng animation certificate programs, especially outside Metro Manila. We have to strengthen this education ecosystem to ensure the industry's long-term growth and global competitiveness. We must invest in training programs, workshops, and educational institutions dedicated to animation can significantly boost the quality of our animators' work and compete with AI, now that AI threatens to displace humans in the animation production line. We must instill in our local animators their constant competitive edge and move them out of assembly line animation. Another source of competitive advantage of the Philippine animation industry that we must capitalize on is our rich culture, which can inspire original stories and unique artistic styles. Filipino mythology, folklore, and tradition provide a wealth of materials for storytelling that can captivate global audiences. Indeed, it's not only Filipino talent that is world-class, but also Filipino content. Napatunayan na natin yan with 13, the Netflix crime horror animated series based on graphic novels Ubudjet Tan, which topped Netflix top 10 charts in 19 countries, drawing global appreciation of Philippine folklore, but was produced in Singapore. This is proof of Filipino talent and its ability to resonate with international audiences. Kaya tuwang-tuwa tayo that Netflix distributed other Filipino-themed animated works like Hayop Ka, the Nympha Di Maano story, and Barangay 143. Kailangan lang ng Filipino animators ng suporta mula sa gobyerno para maabot natin ang mundo. We must support homegrown studios to produce Filipino-themed animation content to highlight the country's unique culture and stories. For our local animation production studios, it makes more sense for them to draw and produce animation for foreign companies than to work with local companies that might pay them less. In order for us to overcome this benchmark or obstacle, the government should consider providing tax incentives, grants, and subsidies to animation studios, making it more financially viable to produce local content, and count as its gain not only the economic returns of such an endeavor, but the political and cultural returns in soft power. Gayahin natin ang South Korea at Japan that have robust incentives and subsidies to their animation industries. China and South Korea are also investing heavily in their animation industries to shift from being outsourced for assembly work into new roles as content producers with locally crafted storylines. Indeed, subsidies and grants will help Filipino studios and also freelancers to acquire new software and new hardware to speed up production and manage production costs. Sa ngayon, mas mura ang singil ng Pinoy animators for outsourced projects compared to our other competitors overseas. Mas maging competitive pa tayo in term of pricing sana kung may suporta mula sa gobyerno para sa pagsahod. We want higher income for Filipino animators. Higher incomes can boost job satisfaction, which is the foundation for long-lasting careers in animation, and inspire them to create original work. We must jumpstart our animation industry so that it can, in fact, develop to its next level and its next phase. The Philippine animation industry, Madam Speaker, is poised for a bright future as it continues to evolve and expand. The industry has the potential to become a major global player and contributing to the country's economy. With the right investments and collaborations, the Philippines is well on its way to becoming a rising star in the world of animation. This is the challenge for us, Madam Speaker. We already have the law for creatives. Siguraduhin natin na ma-implement ito ng maayos and ensure help will reach our animators and our animation industry. Because, after all, it will reach not only the rest of the world, but perhaps most importantly, our Filipino children and those who are young at heart. The factors of success of the Philippine animation industry are many and interlinked. There is no single solution, and there is no silver bullet to address the weaknesses currently. Success will require the intervention of many agencies, and Republic Act 11904 ay gabay para palakasin ang collaboration ng mga stakeholders. Creative collaboration, collaborative creativity across many industries, many domains, and many stakeholders and agencies. This is what PISIDA is all about. It is our tool to leverage our creative capital for national development, to harness the totality of our human potential to create, the imagination and the emotion that inspire, to create relatable characters and stories that can help shape our national identity. This National Arts Month, may we work together to implement PISIDA to cultivate Filipino creativity and support especially Pinoy animators. Together, let's create a future that is creative. Para patuloy na masagana ang ani ng sining, suportahan natin ang malikhaing Pinoy. Sama-sama tayong lumikha para isang makulay at maunlad na bukas. Madamogid na salamat sa inyo tanan.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Francisco Kiko B. Benitez of the 3rd District of Negros Occidental to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
There's a motion. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Christopher V.P. De Venecia of the 4th District of Pangasinan to avail of the privilege hour.
The Honorable Christopher De Venecia from the 4th District of Pangasinan is recognized to avail of the privilege hour.
Madam Speaker, distinguished colleagues, esteemed guests, Mosantos Siagod si kayo namin. Happy Arts Month po sa ating lahat. As principal author of the Creative Industries Law and a creative myself, I am extra delighted to address the Chamber as we celebrate National Arts Month for 2024. Presidential Proclamation 683 designates February of every year as National Arts Month in recognition of the role of arts and culture in shaping our society. National Arts Month therefore serves as a platform to celebrate the richness of our cultural heritage and the vibrant artistic expressions that define the Filipino spirit. On this premise, it is my distinct pleasure to report some of our Filipino artists' notable and recent successes in the field, particularly in the performing arts. Only last December, Filipino artists dominated the 2023 Asia Artist Awards. P-pop group SB19, behind the viral hit Gento, bagged the Best Artist Award under the Singer category, as well as the Hot Trend Award. Meanwhile, local indie folk ensemble Ben and Ben was among the 11 acts that took home the Best Choice Award. What's more, Horizon, spelled with a number 7, an all-Filipino boy group promoted in South Korea, bagged the Focus Award alongside other rookie K-pop acts. Recently, I was able to catch my friend Lea Salonga headline the Sondheim musical review Old Friends in the West End, with another friend, Joaquin Pedro Valdez, headlining another Sondheim musical, Pacific Overtures, at the Menier Chocolate Factory. Lea wrote on an Instagram post that it might be the first time in history that 3 actors of Filipino descent were headlining shows in the West End at the same time. The third being Nicole Scherzinger, who was then starring in Sunset Boulevard. Across the Pacific, another friend, Red Concepcion, recently debuted on Broadway in the musical Chicago as Amos Hart, more popularly known as Mr. Cellophane. And another friend, Tony Award-winning costume designer Clint Ramos, did creative direction for Once Upon a Mattress on Broadway. Regionally, the Central Luzon State University Maestro Singers and the Tarlac State University Chorale emerged triumphant at the prestigious 2023 Tokyo International Choir Competition, where they showcased the rich choral heritage of the Philippines and proved Filipino talent as among the world's best. These state university choirs brought home multiple awards that brought honor to our country with their victorious melodies echoing in the Daiichi Seimei Hall in Tokyo, Japan. Dear colleagues, the artistic excellence of our Filipino artists have been recognized and highlighted the world over, and of course by no less than our beloved President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. himself, who acknowledged in many of his speeches world-class Filipino creativity. Truly, I stand resolute with our President in celebrating the transforming power and immense contribution to national development of our Filipino artists. I also wish to thank our beloved Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez and Congresswoman Chairwoman Yeda Marie Romualdez, whose support and commitment to developing the Philippine creative industries in unity with President BBM's visionary push for the sector have proven to be integral to its success. We look forward to the Marcos administration's substantial support for the arts this year and in the coming years, and invite everyone to join us for all the Arts Month festivities organized in partnership with the Committee on Accounts this month here in the lower house. Truly, your collective leadership has opened our eyes to the ocean of possibilities that lie ahead for our nation's creative economy. Now, allow me to focus my privileged speech on the state of the performing arts in the country today. Of the 9 domains in the creative industries law, performing arts is closest to my heart. I started as a theater actor and then worked behind the scenes until I became a theater director and eventually a theater producer myself. Alongside my duties as a congressman, I am the managing artistic director of the Sandbox Collective, which is producing the musical Spelling Bee later this month, Feb 24 till March 17. In RA 11904, the Creative Industry Law, performing arts refers to all activities involved in the training of performers, the creation, promotion, distribution, exhibition, and preservation of artistic shows, performances, and such other art forms, including live music, theater, musical theater, dance, opera, circus, spoken word, and puppetry. For this privileged speech, I will focus on the theatrical arts, a segment of the performing arts that include theater, dance, opera, ballet, puppetry, and circus, among others. As a result of the law and in conjunction with other government agencies towards a whole-of-nation approach, a private sector representative for the performing arts shall be appointed by the President from a list of 3 nominees to be endorsed by DTI. That person will join the newest government agency, aka the Philippine Creative Industries Development Council, attached to the DTI, and shall be part of general policy formulation, road mapping, and program development and implementation for the performing arts. Among the programs in the law are subsidized rental schemes for studios, venues, and theaters so that artists have a venue and co-working space for expression. Venue rates are so exorbitant nowadays and are beyond the capacity of most players in the industry who are considered micro to small. Second, startup grants may be extended to help theater workers formalize into our economy. This is important so that performing artists can be registered with a BIR and provide receipts, which then lead to A, being able to work with big clients and render their services, B, applying for visas so that they can work or travel abroad, C, access loans from banks, and many other benefits to being formalized. Further, existing negosyo centers at the local level will be mandated to extend government services to creative firms and MSMEs to facilitate ease of doing business as they register their performing arts companies. It is important that performing artists are able to join theatrical arts companies or start one on their own in order to create more original Filipino content and be an avenue to bring communities together and develop a love for the performing arts. Financial support may also be extended to non-formal learning modalities as a complement to creative instruction and education provided by DepEd, CHED, and TESDA. This will impact the conduct of creative arts residencies, museums, schools of living traditions, and the production of digital content for online learning that will benefit our performing arts stakeholders. Market linkages and opportunities shall also be provided for content development and maximizing the creative pipeline towards an IP or intellectual property ecology. We hope to pivot towards this new strategy as we forge ahead in the knowledge economy, said to be lucky for the upcoming year of the Wood Dragon. Yehey! Swerte daw ang knowledge economy at ang ating creative industry sa taong 2024. Market trends in the last decade or so show that the local music industry has been both a creative and economic stimulus for the performing arts, as evidenced by jukebox musicals like Ang Huling El Bimbo, most of which generated new accounts with ticketing platforms like Ticket World. This is a market indicator that a lot of new audiences of these jukebox musicals were created. This is an indicator that a lot of the audiences of Ang Huling El Bimbo, Rack of Ages, Eto Na Musical Na Po, and a lot of the jukebox musicals are first-time theater goers. They open an account to buy a ticket to the musical, and then they watch the musical, they fall in love with the theater, and then they become repeat theater goers, and they start supporting other theater productions. This year alone, PETA Theater will be staging One More Chance, the musical, drawing inspiration from the iconic Star Cinema film of John Lloyd Cruz and Bea Alonzo, but featuring the musical catalog of Ben and Ben. So that's 3 creative sectors working together: film, music, and theater, to infuse new life into the creative sector. Even another creative industry, publishing and printed media, have stimulated the performing arts, as with stage adaptations of Carlo Vergara's Jaja Saturna and many other comic book plays and musicals. And since we're on the subject, the law is also tasked to create programs to help develop and grow the audience base for the performing arts. This will include commissioning market studies to provide creators with relevant data that could aid ideation pipelines, production, exhibition, and other areas of the creation cycle. The law also creates the Philippine Creative Cities Network, a forum for LGUs to discover the power of creative governance and support community-based creative initiatives, especially in the performing arts. This would be helpful for them in order to galvanize local performing arts traditions towards cultural, educational, and tourism outcomes, among other areas. The law also mandates the creation of a database of creative workers so that the state can easily extend ayuda in times of crisis and national emergency. For this purpose, local culture and arts councils at the LGU level are tasked to take stock of creative talent in the community. This can corroborate the data that had been generated by the dramatic arts, dance, and music committees of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts during the pandemic that was used to extend aid to displaced workers, not to mention private databases maintained by organizations like the Artist Welfare Project and the National Live Events Coalition, PH. Lastly, scholarship programs shall be provided to upskill or retool creative stakeholders in the performing arts in order for them to be globally competitive, not only in providing creative services, but, as Kong Kiko shared earlier, generating original Filipino IP and content. This Congress, the Special Committee on Creative Industries, conducted hearings that delved into the entire performing arts sector to look into production cycles, value chains, labor issues, synergies with other governance areas. This generated a lot of insight that fed into the ongoing road mapping initiative for the performing arts, jointly spearheaded by DTI and the NCCA. Some key takeaways. 1, let's amend the local government code. Let's relax existing levies on amusement tax. As the pandemic ravaged the performing arts and they are just getting back on their feet, it is important that LGUs heed the call of creativity and definitively remove this regulation, similar to what Las Piñas, Quezon City, and most recently, Makati City have done. So for this, we thank our friend Mayor Abby Binay for heeding the call of creativity. Number 2, revise our child labor law and take into account the peculiarity of the theatrical arts industry. Not only was the sector not consulted in the course of deliberating on this measure in lieu of protecting child workers in the movie industry, but the measure doesn't account for the tradition of evening performances and that theater outfits often do due diligence by hiring alternate performers for the kids. Meaning to say, if a theater company will do Annie or Chitty Chitty Bang Bang or any musical na may mga bagets, the performers. Usually, they get 2 or 3 actors to play the role. Para yung isang child actor, siya yung sa matinee, and then yung isang child actor, siya yung sa evening performance. So, if you take into account the time that they're called in the theater, they do the show, and then they do the curtain call, that's no more than 4 to 5 hours that they are in the workplace. Unfortunately, when the child labor law was being deliberated, parang it was taking into account just film, in which, as a former child star myself, medyo nagtagal ako sa set ng aking mga sitcom dati. Minsan 12 to 14 hours po ako inaabot dati. Number 3, pushing for government subsidies in order to make tickets more affordable to the theater-going public. The European theater model provides for 50% of revenue coming from government subsidies alone, recognizing the importance of theater and art as a right rather than a privilege. It is for this reason that theater tickets in Europe remain affordable as opposed to Broadway, where ticket prices have become way too expensive. In Manila, tickets range from 1,500 to 4,000 pesos on average for a theater production. And revenue channels are primarily ticket sales driven, and the absence of government and private sector subsidies to help underwrite the costs. Thus, plying a trade in the performing arts is generally considered risky business. Number 4, there is a need for more theater and performing arts spaces that can be accessed at affordable rates. A lot of big corporations today are opening theaters that can seat thousands of audiences. The problem is, most of our content creators in the theatrical arts are in the micro to small category and cannot afford the cost of a venue. Government venues such as the CCP are currently undergoing renovation, and have limited facilities at the moment. And even then, our national performing arts companies, as determined under RA 11392, would be the priority client of our government theaters. To outsiders, government venues are just as expensive. So where does that leave the rest of the players? Unless there's a government scheme for subsidized rentals of performing arts spaces, there will be a lot of white elephant mega theaters in Metro Manila that have no content being showcased. Number 5, there needs to be more capacity building for performing arts stakeholders, especially those that group together to become performing arts companies. Companies need to know and understand also the business of performing arts, how to market, how to sell tickets, how to develop patrons, how to find sponsors, how to write press releases, how to network, how to access grants, and basically how to run a business in general. The biggest cruelty or injustice to any performer is to perform to half-empty or even empty theaters sometimes. While Filipino artists are very much creative, they must be empowered to be financially literate and entrepreneurial as well. Number 6, content creators in the performing arts also need to learn the value of protecting their intellectual property as well as syndicating their IP to find other creative expressions. And for this, I congratulate artists like our national artist for dance, Alice Reyes, for actually patenting her choreography. So yes, it's very possible to protect your IP even if it's not tangible and it's intangible. They must also learn the business of export to become part and parcel of the global theater economy, the same way that our stakeholders obtain licenses to stage musicals from abroad locally, or even take from the public domain and do local adaptations of Shakespeare and the Greeks. So who's to say that Nick Joaquin or even jukebox musicals like Rack of Ages can't be performed abroad by a foreign theater company and translated into other languages? This is an opportunity for both DTI and even the Department of Foreign Affairs to leverage our performing arts content as beacons of soft power, as Kong Kiko mentioned earlier, and cultural diplomacy. Number 7, marketing, marketing, and another marketing. While this is a clear mandate of the Creative Industries Law, it is important for government to support content creators in the performing arts by extending promotional support, especially to locally produced shows. The government has many assets that can be leveraged, from establishing a presence in our international and domestic airports, by providing kiosks or even electronic platforms where creators can promote their shows, to synergizing performing arts with tourism outcomes, galvanizing LGU support so that community and school-based performing arts groups will enjoy sustainability and support through the mayor and the governor. There is a multitude of ways by which the risks of doing business in the performing arts can be mitigated through vibrant institutional synergy. Number 8, speaking of making the state an institutional promoter of local creative content in the performing arts, it can assist even better by being an institutional buyer and patron of local performing arts content. 1, DepEd can subsidize the viewing of 26 million learners in local performances or theatrical content brought into the local auditoriums housed within our schools, especially since exposure to the arts at a young age is beneficial to a learner's holistic development. One publication by the international nonprofit I Paint My Mind reports that young learners exposed to art education are 4 times more likely to be recognized for academic excellence. The government can also continue to hire performing artists for their institutional events, from singers to dancers and other creative specialists, and bring local talent abroad when the Philippines participates in international trade shows and fora. Number 9, on the subject of performers, they must be given better wages and more benefits. In the absence of trade unions in the performing arts, unlike Broadway where they have actors' equity, it is important to provide an enabling policy, perhaps through DOLE or through legislation, or for workers to be provided benefits, occupational safety and health assurances, and commensurate wages. We hope that the Senate can urgently act on the Freelance Protection Bill, which has long passed in the lower house, to provide foundational protection in the form of contracts. And finally, number 10, more opportunities in the regions to develop nascent theatrical arts industries, such that aspiring theater artists don't have to relocate, extricate, remove themselves from their communities, and move to NCR at pakipagsapalaran sa napaka-saturated the creative economy labor market dito. It was quite sobering to hear from the Cultural Center of the Philippines during one of our congressional hearings that the nationwide market survey for the performing arts revealed that those outside NCR will only pay 150 pesos at most for a ticket to watch a live performance. So with the rising costs of producing, similar to the pain points experienced in the film industry, which has seen tickets in NCR go up to 400 to 500 pesos to watch movies in a cinema, it is hard to reconcile production costs, which are fixed, vis-a-vis revenue streams. A ticket to a foreign theater production could go as high as 8,000 pesos, not to mention to a concert of a foreign act as high as 20,000 to 30,000 pesos. It is for this reason that fiscal policies should be explored to bring down costs, starting with a relaxation of amusement tax. Thank you, Chair Joey, in the back, for being our very sympathetic to the cost chairman of Ways and Means, and other levies on the cost of materials and mounting a production and incentives for venues, among others. There are many other recommendations on how we can transition our performing arts industry into a vibrant sector of our creative economy, which is why we look forward to the crafting of a performing arts industry roadmap in compliance with the creative industry law. The NCCA has begun the work from our 2022 General Appropriations Act Fund, and we must continue to work on this roadmap in order to pivot the sector towards greater productivity, greater market penetration, and at par with other socioeconomic outcomes that are outlined in the creative industry law. So over the past years, our nation has witnessed a burgeoning renaissance in the creative industries fueled by the private sector with support from government. I will no longer recapitulate the economic data on creative industries, but yes, it's 7.3% of GDP and 1.6 trillion pesos in 2022. That's 7 million Filipinos working in the sector as per the Philippine Statistics Authority, so we must continue to support them. Honorable Speaker, dear colleagues, as we gather to celebrate National Arts Month, let us recommit ourselves to the development and promotion of the performing arts and the creative industries. Let us remember that the sector is not just an economic driver, but a reflection of our nation's soul. Through sustained legislative support, targeted investment, collaborative efforts, we can unlock the full potential of our artists and creatives. We are opening the curtains of a new stage in Philippine development, a stage where Filipino creativity is finally at the forefront of our national development, and most importantly, a stage where creatives can create wealth and livelihood through art and creativity. Together, let us build a future where the Filipino creative spirit shines brightly, not only within our borders, but across the world as well. Again, happy National Arts Month po to everyone, and do join us for a whole month of activities here in the lower house. So again, we thank Speaker Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, Chairwoman Yeda Romualdez, and our distinguished colleagues for your advance support. Next Monday, February 12, we have art workshops in the morning for kids and more privilege speeches for Privilege Hour. Feb 19, we will be opening a creative industry exhibit here in the lower house. We also have other activities as well. And Feb 26, we will have a creative industry forum, and we will also be awarding emerging talent in the creative industries as well. It will be a first ever activity of its kind here in the lower house. So again, balbalagi salamat at masanto si Agod si Kinamin. Happy Arts Month, everyone.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Toff, Pangasinan's best. Thank you. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Christopher V.P. De Venecia to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action.
There's a motion to refer the speech of Cong Toff De Venecia. Any objections? Hearing none, said speech is therefore referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no other member who wishes to avail of the privilege hour, I move that we terminate the privilege hour.
There's a motion to terminate the privilege hour. Any objection? Hearing none, privilege hour is thereby terminated. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, under the calendar of business for the day, I move that we consider House Bill number 9794 under Committee Report number 935. And for this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General read the title of the aforesaid bill.
Yes, Majority Leader. Director General is hereby directed. Please proceed.
House Bill number 9794, an act enhancing Philippine tax incentives, amending for the purpose sections 27, 28, 112, 292, 293, 294, 295, 296, 297, 300, 301, 309, 310, and 311, and adding a new section 295-A in the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended and for other purposes.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now open the period of sponsorship.
There's a motion to close.
Open.
Open.
The period of sponsorship.
Open the period of sponsorship. Please proceed.
Mr.
Majority Leader.
Speaker, I now move that we recognize the Honorable Joey Salceda to deliver his sponsorship speech.
Representative Joey Salceda of Albay. Please proceed, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, a pleasant evening to all of you. Today, I have the honor and the distinct pleasure of sponsoring House Bill number 9794, or the Create More Act, a remedial statute that intends to enhance the provisions of the Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises, or CREATE Act, and cure inconsistencies with its implementing rules and regulations and administrative issuances. In the timeless words of the U.S. Supreme Court case of McCulloch versus Maryland, the power to tax involves the power to destroy. Conversely, the power to exempt or otherwise reduce tax also implies the power to create. That is why a country's tax incentives regime and how it's run affects the kind of industries and economic activity created in that country. The aim of the CREATE law was to establish a tax incentives regime that is performance-based, targeted, time-bound, and transparent. This is in response to the perpetual 5% on gross income earned regime granted to many of our registered business enterprises with almost no strings attached. Indeed, CREATE ended these perpetual tax incentives and instituted controls to ensure that the fiscal incentives result in economic gains, in production, in productivity, in gross value added. In other words, CREATE's primary issue with the old tax incentive system was excessively privileged taxes on income it imposed. Effectively, the 5% GIE rate is equivalent to 8 to 13% in corporate income taxes, around just a third of the regular corporate income tax rate. As we emphasized then, the perpetual grant of 5% GIE with no performance commitments or time-boundedness was the mother of all evil in the tax incentives regime, nowhere in the world. It bred complacency, disintensified economy-boosting costs, and permitted aggressive tax avoidance through transfer pricing modalities. What CREATE did not intend was to tax the export sector, but that is what interpretation of the law through the BIR, through the IRR, and BIR issuances did to the sector. When you impose VAT or otherwise withhold refund claims for so long as to paralyze cash flow of an import-export enterprise. You are employing the destructive power of taxation. You are destroying that sector. You are destroying jobs. When we damage our export competitiveness, we increase pressure on OFWs, BPO workers, and other dollar-earning services to work harder just to meet our growing import bill. And because exports are in the manufacturing or industry sectors, we also destroy the value chain linkages that they engender. The concept to me is exceedingly simple. Inputs for goods made for export should be taxed as little as possible, if at all. If they are taxed at all, the refund system should be quick enough to allow cash flow for more production. You do that because VAT and duties are taxes on domestic consumption. Imposing them on exports is fatal, as our exports will be unable to compete with exports from our peer countries. Unfortunately, those who interpreted the CREATE law through rules and regulations exceeded both their authorities and the limits of good reason. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority in November 2023, FDI fell by 16% from $7 billion net inflows in the third quarters of 2022 to $5.8 billion in the same period. The contribution of exported goods to the gross domestic product in the third quarter of 2023 contracted again. Although the decreasing inflow FDI and declining share of exports may be linked to investor concerns over the steep interest rates imposed by the U.S. Federal Reserve under Powell, the uncertainties in fiscal policies have notably eroded investor confidence in the Philippines. To restore investor confidence and build up investor commitments, the Create More measure offers the following enhancements to the current law's value-added tax features. First, this measure establishes a straightforward and streamlined tax refund system in consultation with the Commission on Audit and investment promotion agencies. Second, instead of the restrictive term direct and exclusive, we disallowed certain VAT zero rating transactions. This bill reinstates the phrase directly attributable to cover a broader range of expenditures that will qualify for 0% VAT. Third, this measure reverts the authority to investment promotion agencies like SBMA, like AFAB, like BCDA, like CDC to approve tax incentives. Fourth, on the transitory provision in terms of VAT incentives, this bill clarifies that existing registered business enterprises, both domestic and export, may continue to benefit from these incentives for 12 years on the condition that no tax refund or credit shall be given. Aside from the foregoing remedial provisions, this bill has introduced additional incentives such as 1. Reduction of the corporate income tax to 20% for domestic and foreign corporations under the enhanced deduction regime. 2. Inclusion of the Bangsamoro Board of Investments as an IPA. 3. Additional enhanced deduction of 200% additional deduction for power cost in order to equalize our disadvantage vis-a-vis our competitors. 100% additional deductions for expenses for trade fairs, missions, or exhibition for which we do not give any budget to DTI. Inclusion of the tourism industry in the coverage of the reinvestment allowance. So any investor who reverts their income instead of dividend, making it dividends and instead reinvest it, then they become taxed. They get incentives. D, application of the net operating loss carryover 5 years after the end of the income tax holiday entitlement period. Number 4, in view of the constitutional prohibition, especially in the practice of professions, we have already sought the legality of issuing special skills visa for foreign nationals who possess highly specialized skills required for the operation of registered business enterprise. Otherwise, they will never come here. Also for working visa to foreign nationals holding executive positions and to non-resident aliens in supervisory, technical, and advisory positions. 6, expansion of fiscal incentives to creative industries under Republic Act number 11904, otherwise known as the PISIDA. 7, provision of VAT incentives to export enterprises accredited by the Export Marketing Bureau, which means anybody who supplies to an exporter anywhere in the Philippines, even if they're not registered, do not need to, can avail of their tax, of their VAT exemptions. 8, registered business enterprise, local tax or ALBERT for enterprises under ITH, an enhanced deduction regime. So they do not have to talk to the local, it will limit their engagement with the LGUs, and there seems to be some scare amongst them, and therefore they only need to pay the ARBELT during the time that they are under this scheme. Number 9, flexible work from home scheme for services in EIT or BPO under Investment Promotion Agency of at least 50%. Further, in order to facilitate adequate zone administration of tax incentives, we have proposed the creation of a registered business enterprises taxpayer services, kasi mga takot din sila makipag-usap sa BIR sa dinami-dami ng kakausapin. So we have concentrated and centralized. They only have to talk to one. It's called RBETS. To facilitate ease of transaction, as well as the designation of regional offices of the region, DTI, or negotiation centers in initial points of contact for foreign investment leads. Further tax regime reforms in tax policy could confront the challenges posed by the mix of headwinds in the global economy. It has become apparent that the strategy of our peers is to grow their manufacturing bases in order to boost their economies in a more sustainable and equitable manner. Manufacturing, that is the centerpiece of Create More. It creates a strong middle class, the backbone of any prosperous economy, not services, and possibly, at least, greater investments in agriculture. The Philippines is under threat of a complete hollowing out of the manufacturing and industrial sectors, as Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar are starting to get their piece of the cake in favor of predominantly service-based economy, which is also just as easy to hollow out. A failing VAT refund system, costly tax imposition on exports, and an unresponsive tax incentive system will finish these sectors off. The Create Law was motivated by a strong desire to bolster our revenue base in the absence of robust performance from incentivized economic sectors. Indeed, when Create passed, FDI surged an all-time high in 2021, but they have been in steep decline since then, as interpretations of the law create more confusion and uncertainty. The establishment of a performance-based enhanced deductions regime and the end of the perpetual tax incentives are solid accomplishments for the Create Law. In fact, they are visionary in that they actually comply with the global minimum corporate income tax, which we can no longer a threat which we can no longer avoid or ignore. But implementation-related issues on VAT and delays on investment approvals have offset these gains. In these areas, it is time to course correct. In view of the urgent nature of these reforms, as well as the cost of policy delays, we ask the body to perform support and approve this measure. We have the support of our executive and legislative. Thank you to the 43 members of the committee, 75 stakeholders group that attended our 12 meetings. This bill incorporated 21 position papers, over 6 months of deliberation and consultation. Thank you for critically helping us refine the bill. Thank you, Your Honors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Congressman Solceda. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we suspend consideration of House Bill number 9794.
There's a motion to suspend consideration. Hearing none, no objection. Please proceed. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 1529 under Committee Report number 930, and for this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General read the title of the measure.
Secretary General, please proceed.
House Resolution 1529, resolution congratulating architect Jorge Yulo, iconic awardee for innovative architecture for the design of the Equilateral House in Makati City, and architect William T., iconic awardee Best of the Best in Master Planning for the Batangas Forest City, both during the German Design Council's Iconic Awards on October 5, 2022 at the BMW Welt Museum in Munich, Germany, and the 8 Filipino architecture firms shortlisted as finalists at the World Architecture Festival 2022 held from November 30 to December 3, 2022 in Lisbon, Portugal.
Majority Leader. Thank you, Secretary General.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 1529.
There's a motion to adopt House Resolution 1529. Any objection? Hearing none, House Resolution 1529 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the consideration of House Resolution number 1543 under Committee Report number 934, and for this purpose, may I request again that the Secretary General read the title of the bill.
Secretary General, please. Please proceed.
House Resolution 1543, resolution congratulating and commending Ian Fermin Rosales Casocot for winning first prize in the short story category of the 2022 Carlos Palanca Memorial Awards for Literature.
Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 1543. So move.
There's a motion to adopt 1543. Any objection? Hearing none. All those in favor? Session suspended. Session resumed. Majority Leader, please restate last motion, please.
Mr. Speaker, I reiterate my motion. I move for the adoption of House Resolution number 1543.
Thank you, Majority Leader. There is a motion to adopt House Resolution 1543. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those not in favor say nay. The ayes have it. House Resolution 1543 is hereby adopted. Majority Leader, please.
Mr. Speaker, there being no more business for the day, I move that we adjourn session until tomorrow, February 6, 2023 at 3 o'clock p.m.
Session is thereby adjourned as stated. Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you. Was it reinstate? Sama kami. Sama kami.